are here today because I wanted to have this wonderful acupuncturist, Elisa, on our show because I really think that acupuncture is wonderful. It's wonderful for a lot of women's health issues, and so I wanted to make sure that she was on our show. Now, as you know, I always go on a couple minutes before just to make sure that we are on, we're live. I can see if anybody comments. I typically do some this day in history. We're alive, we are live. Yes, yay, here we are. Okay, let me just make sure the volume is down. So I'm huge into, as we know, anything to do with women, women's health. So in history really quick, I'll just mention two things. One, I love Queen Elizabeth I. I loved her. I think she was an amazing woman. She died this day in 1603, so that was kind of sad. This is nice and warm.
It is. This is a heated table.
Oh,
I use this especially in the colder months.
Oh, awesome.
And this heat lamp, which I'm going to move a little bit so it doesn't hit you, it's also something that we use in treatment a lot as well, to warm certain areas of the body.
Well, welcome. You are officially my second guest and my first out-of-the-office visit. This is Elisa Hirsh-Cotter here in Beacon. She's an acupuncturist. So let's just start off by, how did you get into acupuncture? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I have a bachelor's in psychology, and I was graduating or ending my last semester, and I wanted to continue in the field of mental health, but I really didn't want to do talk therapy. Not that there's anything wrong with it, I just wasn't something I wanted to go into, or psychiatry. And I have a close family member who has a lot of chronic pain. She has fibromyalgia and migraines, and she started to see an acupuncturist, ironically in the same office that we're sitting in right now.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
And so I said, and she's had a lot of benefits from it, and she started to feel better. So I said, I'm going to try it. Why not? And it really helped me with gynecological issues, digestive issues, and overall just anxiety and stress. You know, the anxiety of life and being a student and making decisions. So I took a chance. And with the support of family members, they really pushed me to start the acupuncture program.
That's
and
awesome.
So grateful that I did. I have no regrets. And I was lucky enough to study with some teachers and mentors that focused on mental and emotional well-being and women's health.
And that's sort of tied in with your history, and that's awesome. And so how long have you been doing this now?
I've been doing it, it's always an interesting question, I think 6.5 years, since September 2010.
Oh wow,
I've
that's
been in
awesome.
practice here in Beacon.
Awesome. All right, so let's talk about acupuncture, because some people might not actually know what acupuncture is, and I'm all about introducing different modalities besides conventional medicine to all the lovely women that watch our show. So what exactly is acupuncture? How does it work?
So acupuncture is one branch of Chinese medicine. Chinese medicine is a complete medicine system that's used to treat the entire body. So acupuncture, and here, I don't know how close we can see, but this is one of the acupuncture needles, which we can show demonstrations in a little bit. We use very small, hair-thin needles to stimulate specific channels along what we call meridians in the body. Meridians are like roadways, they're pathways that course the entire body. So you have 12 regular meridians and some extra ones around, but they're the main ones that we use. And so what we seek to do is to stimulate specific points based on how someone presents, what they tell me, and then what I observe, and also part of the diagnostic procedures for me to look at someone's tongue and take their pulse. So based on all of that, what we do is stimulate specific points, and by doing so, we are trying to create balance in the body so that the body can heal itself. A lot of time what happens is we have traffic jams, or what we call stagnations. So we have this excess area and then this deficient area. So really what we're trying to do is just create a smooth flow of chi so that the body can heal itself, because that's what we believe in.
That's awesome. Now, typically, like when you go for a session, what is it kind of like? How long does it last? What is it kind of, I mean, we can also demonstrate. I said that I would be a willing candidate. I've had acupuncture before, so I think it's definitely awesome. But what typically happens when you go?
Great question, because a lot of time people like, well, do you treat me in the initial session? What happens? How do you choose points? So the initial session, we talk in depth about your entire body, all your body systems. And like I said, I look at your tongue and I take your pulses and I come up with what we call traditional Chinese medicine diagnosis, or a diagnosis according to what I see. And then I have you laid down and I treat you, and there are other adjunctive therapies. So if I think it's something appropriate, then I'll add those in also.
So what kind of modalities are those?
So what we do, and people may be familiar with cupping because of Michael Phelps in the Olympics. So the type of cupping that I do is called fire cupping. This is a traditional cupping method. Nowadays there are also plastic pump cups.
Okay.
So what I do is I soak a cotton ball in alcohol and I light it on fire and create a heat suction and then put it on the body. What cupping does is it stimulates blood flow, it relaxes the muscles, it detoxes the body, but mainly it really helps alleviate pain. It's also phenomenal for upper respiratory conditions such as a really bad persistent cough.
Oh wow, really?
And it also decreases some inflammation in the body.
Oh wow. Now let me ask you, and this may be a silly question, but do you do it over a spot where there's a needle, or is it completely?
Great question.
Okay.
There are different ways to do it, but what I do is I put it, first I'll put oil on a person's, say, back. That's where we normally do it.
Okay.
Usually in bellies of muscles. And I either keep it stationary for a few minutes, up to 5 or 10. 10 is pushing a little bit. Or I slide it, or I do both. So it feels a little like a massage, but the difference between cupping and a massage is we're pulling up the fascia off of the muscle, because what happens is things get really tight in the body and cause pain. So we're just trying to create some more space there. So I don't put it over a needle.
Oh, okay. Yep. No, that makes sense. So what other things do you kind of do?
So something that's similar in the way that it works is Gua Sha, or could be called scraping.
Okay.
What I do is I place oil on the body in an area and then really just stroke it. Research has shown that Gua Sha has a tremendous anti-inflammatory response, or decreases inflammation in the body. It breaks up stagnation, what we talked about earlier. Those areas of accumulation in the body that are causing pain. You know when you kind of feel like you have this knot in there?
Yeah, oh yeah, that sounds like it would be great for everyone's got that tension right, I mean, well, for me, I think most people, this is where your stress lies.
Right.
And that sounds like that would be great for that
spot. It feels really good. These two therapies can leave what we call a shot, or a temporary mark, as you saw on Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
So it can be a little red, it can be purple. Those are temporary, they go away within a few days.
Okay.
And you should be feeling better after the cupping.
Oh wow, that's really cool. What else?
So we also have oxibustion. These are just two forms of it. There are indirect moxa, so either I put it directly on your body, but put a little cream on or burn ointment on the area. So it's not, there's always a barrier, or indirect. So I use pole moxa a lot. It looks like a little bit like a cigar here. So we light one end, and then I put it over certain points and channels in the body. What oxibustion does is it warms, tonifies, and moves things in the body. So it's really great for cold conditions, people who get sick a lot.
So they almost like help
digestive issues.
Boost the immune system a little bit? Because wow, that's pretty good. Now, again, is that like around where you have a needle in, or is it just?
It can be. Great question. So another form of oxibustion, which I don't have here, is you can actually put oxibustion on a needle, called warming needle technique.
Oh wow. Okay.
So either I do it around a needle, on a needle, or along a channel.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
And I also wanted to show you people often ask me, do you treat children? Do you just treat adults? So I do treat children, but the way that I do it's a little bit different. If we use a needle, it may be just in and out, and a lot of kids are scared of needles, so they don't want them. So what we do, Shin, is basically stimulating the channels and certain points with these tiny little tools. I'll just show you a few of them. So what you do, and I'll use your arm, is that you just do a little kind of scraping technique, a gentle, or if I want to go into a certain point, things like that. So these are less scary for kids here.
I could tickle actually.
And the other thing that we do is something called auricular acupuncture or ear acupuncture.
Oh, I've heard of that.
So it's used frequently for PTSD or addictions. It's even used in some military purposes. They've done it, and studies have shown that.
Okay.
So usually I use it as an adjunct therapy. Some people come in just for that, especially if they want to quit smoking.
And does acupuncture help quit smoking?
It does help. You know, I always tell people you have to want to quit smoking.
Well, yes, I totally agree with that. I think that I always tell patients that as well. I'm like, listen, I can tell you that smoking's not good for you and that you should quit, but if you're not ready for it, then everything I tell you is not going to really help you. You know, you really have to be ready for it.
You really, at the end of the day, you have to have a willingness. If there's no willingness, and that's to eat better, get healthy, stop smoking, you have to have it within yourself. We can help foster that, but you really have to come to that as well.
Absolutely. So do you want to try to do one? Just because I want to show, because I think personally that I think a lot of people might not go to acupuncture, because I know the first time I went, I'm like, a needle? No. I am not going. There is no way that that's going to happen. And then I finally went, and I'm like, that was it, you know? And I just thought it would be good just to show, just so people can see that, you know, it's not that bad.
Right, you know, and that's a very common question. Does it hurt? Is it going to hurt? And I always say it varies person to person, right? Yeah. What we call our energy or our chi, which is coursing through our meridians, and I should have spoke about this earlier. Through these meridians, our chi and our resources flow. Our chi is our vital life force. So our chi can be at the surface, it can be kind of bogged down by that stagnation. But regardless, it shouldn't hurt. The needles are very small. You may feel certain sensations move around and just things shifting. Totally normal. If anything were ever to be uncomfortable or have a discomfort during a session, just notify your practitioner so they can adjust it.
I think I know that when I had it, sometimes it was just like, I won't even say a warming, but it was just like, oh my gosh, something happened. It felt great, kind of.
So that goes back to that chi, that energy that's coursing. That's a good thing. That's what we want. We want to establish that flow in the body. I will tell you that I use single-use disposable needles. It's sometimes a question. I never reuse a needle at all. Typically swab an area with alcohol before we needle also, okay? And 30 or more of my acupuncture needles fit in a normal hypodermic needles. For instance, like if you were to get a shot or your blood taken, so it's a lot smaller.
Oh, so it actually can fit inside there?
It's very, very small.
That's really tiny. Yeah.
So why don't we do an area, you tell me what you're more comfortable with.
I don't care,
the belly of a muscle here.
Yeah.
This point here is a great point for your immune system to clear some heat and some digestive issues if you kind of are clogged up or you're not going, you have too much coming out. So we use that a lot in 5 days.
That's not good.
No. And bowel health is something that we talk about a lot in Chinese medicine. You need a healthy gut.
Yes, no, I totally agree with
So
that.
what I'm going to do is swap just a little bit there.
Now, typically, would you say in a session, like how many needles do you need? Like, is it like you're fully loaded? Like,
it's a good question. I typically try to limit the amount of needles I use, but if there is a specific area of discomfort, I may do more needles. So it can be anywhere from 7 needles to 18 needles, something of that nature. It really depends.
And then how long are they in?
So usually they're in for 20 minutes or so, sometimes a little bit longer. It really depends on the patient. if the person is slightly deficient, I'm not going to want to leave them in so long. And I also limit the amount of needles that I'm going to put in as well, okay?
All right.
So what I'm going to do is just pop in a little bit to find the point, okay? So then I'm going to take the guide tube here and just tap it in. So I tap it in, and then I'm just going to do a little tonification there to direct the energy there. And that's about it.
And I didn't feel a thing. And that's what's great about it.
Right, and as you can see, it's very simple, and this point can do a lot. You know, that's a great thing about acupuncture. We try to utilize the points in a way that it will do multiple things, here, as I talked about before.
Yeah.
So then all I'm going to do is take it up.
Yeah, I didn't even feel a thing. All right, so next question is, let's try to, because we're all about, you know me, I'm women's health, I'm all about women's health.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about what are the things that acupuncture can help when it comes to women's health issues, which I know that there's a lot. I know that there's lots of research done on acupuncture and the benefits of it. So what are some good things that, probably everything, but.
So we'll start small. Cycles, right? Some women have a regular cycle, some women have painful cycles, some women have no cycle or amenorrhea. So really what acupuncture can do, and I had this one teacher who talked a lot about the importance of treating a woman's menstrual cycle so that everything else can fall into place. Mm-hmm. So we really help to regulate hormones in the body. The way that we do that is really just balancing our systems and decreasing our cortisol or our stress hormone, because cortisol, as you know, works in reverse of our reproductive hormone. So very frequently, this is another area about fertility. If someone comes in and they're so stressed and their cycle's going all over the place, a lot of simply what I want to do first and foremost is calm the mind. What we call the Shen. The Shen is the heart spirit. Just bring it down a little bit, okay? And by doing so, things start to balance out. So work a lot with reproductive health, with other things such as fibroids, ovarian cysts, polycystic ovarian syndrome, anything that's just out of whack. I find it really important also to educate women about their gynecological health and just cycle-wise. It's very common women don't know when they're ovulating or don't know about cervical mucus, simple things like that. So that's another thing that we do. You know, PMS is a big thing as well. Some of us have like a PMDD or just a severe PMS that can really interrupt our life. That's another thing that we do.
Oh yes, yeah, that can really interrupt. Now I know that before, when we met before, we were talking about like postpartum, right? Mm-hmm. Which is a very important time, and it sometimes gets lost because it then goes to the little one. So are there some things that acupuncture can help in the postpartum period?
So acupuncture can really help with postpartum depression, preventing it.
Oh, okay.
Can help, you know, or dealing with it comes up. Any milk issues, sometimes women have an issue letting down, or there's a little bit of a deficiency there. Childbirth is really draining on the body. So is pregnancy, right? When you're pregnant in Chinese medicine, you have more qi, you have more blood, you have more of this. But then you're giving birth, you're letting go, you're moving all that out. And also, for some women give birth in a hospital or have a C-section in Chinese medicine. Sometimes that can cause cold to come into the body. So what we really try to do is to restore the body, restore all those resources that need to be, because face it, it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
you know, and then breastfeeding is a wonderful thing, but mom needs to make sure that she's taken care of. It's very often, like we were talking about, and a woman goes home and then she's like, oh gosh, what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
And she's trying to take care of herself and her new baby.
Now, if someone were to come postpartum, like at what point do you think to help prevent all of these other kind of issues? Like, is it a week after you had the baby? Is it like, what time is a great time to like actually come and see you?
So I think it's highly individual. It depends the type of birth that a woman had, how she's feeling. acupuncture isn't going to cause any negative
Right.
things.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think that's important to acknowledge, because some people say, are there going to be side effects and things of that nature? Obviously, if it's a week, I think you should stay home. Also, in Chinese medicine and just in general, it's really important to stay in bed with your baby, nourish yourself. So, I can't answer that in a one-statement thing.
I got you.
But
That's
it's
very
safe
individual.
to do
Yeah.
after you have a baby. So you can come a week later if needed,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
That's awesome. All right, well, thank you so much. I think we've probably gone over a half hour, but I hope that this information is, one, very informative. I hope that it opens up your mind to acupuncture and to know that it actually, there is so much research on acupuncture, and it's always good. I don't think I've ever seen research that says, oh, don't do acupuncture. And there's a lot of women's health issues that it can actually help with. So I'm going to put in the description, I'm going to put Elisa's website up there. She's in Beacon, and it's a very beautiful building that she's in. So, if you need some acupuncture and you're in the area, give her her details and give her a ring. Otherwise, check out your local acupuncturist. Call them, ask them questions if you have any, or you know what, you can always reach out to me on my website. I'd be more than willing to help you find someone or answer any questions that I may be able to answer as well. And that's womenshealthonthego.com. So thank you so much for showing up. I hope you have a great Friday, a great weekend. I will still be going on Monday night for those people who usually come to the show at 8 o'clock, and I'm going to talk about what we did here, and I'm hoping that I can learn how to do a rerun.
All right.
So that we will be able to see this show again. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you so much for allowing me to come to your office and do this.
Thanks for joining us.
And this was great, and you never know, maybe I'll have her back on, to talk about some other kind of women's health issue in acupuncture. So thank you very much, everybody, and have a great weekend.